if you knock this camera down, son, we're gonna have a problem. Thank you. What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel. I am back and better than ever with great camera quality and lighting. The last video I recorded was Stephen Curry coming to my school, and the camera quality sucked because it was on an iPhone 4 and there was no other way for me to do videos, and it took forever to even get that one edited and uploaded it because I did it all on that phone. So took a little break for a while until I upgraded. So now we're back and we're better and I'm ready to do this. So it is the month of May, and for those of you that don't know what makes May so special is that it is Mental Health Awareness Month. And it's something that should be taken very seriously and should be talked about a lot more. But a lot of people are ignorant on the issue, and because people are ignorant on the issues, they make stupid comments like, well, if you're depressed, just get up and go. As if it's that simple. Or, you're anxious? What are you feeling anxious about? Just don't. Okay, yeah. Because that works. So because people make those ignorant comments, a lot of people are too afraid to talk about it. So I kind of want to just get my story out there. Maybe it'll show people who are going through it that they're not going through it alone. Or it might just help a few people, hopefully. But I wanted to tell my story. So yeah, the two mental health disorders, I guess you would say, that I struggle with are anxiety and depression. The first one, so with anxiety, I've kind of always had it, but I had learned ways to just like cope with it before I even knew what it was. So I have social anxiety, which means I cannot be in a large crowd or my anxiety acts up. Now, before I even knew what it was or even what it was called, I just kind of learned how to cope with it. Like if I got nervous, I would play with Rude. Before, when I would get nervous, I would play with like a necklace that I had on my hair. And that was kind of my way of cooling myself down. Because it wasn't bad. It wasn't like to the point where I was like shaking and I would have an anxiety attack. It was just like I had to hold on to something to kind of like calm myself down. It didn't get bad really until after I graduated, but I'll get into that later because I want to get into my depression first, because that's what I struggled with the most before really even knowing what anxiety was. I don't know if anxiety runs in the family too, but I do know for sure that depression does. I think it runs on both sides of my family, mom and dad. So I became depressed around, I want to say either 6th or 7th grade. I dealt with a little bit of a hard family trauma, and I feel like that's kind of what kicked in the depression, but it didn't get bad, like really, really bad, until after I graduated. I would slip into like these moods where, before I graduated, I would slip into like these moods where like I didn't want to go out, I just wanted to sleep. I could be around a bunch of people and still feel alone. But it didn't get really, really bad until after I graduated. All my friends went off to college and I was stuck here. So I live a pretty ways out from people. I didn't have a car at the time. I didn't have my license at the time. I graduated at 17. So not that that makes an excuse, because I could have definitely got my license. It just, we'll get into that. So no car, no license. I stay, you know, a rough few minutes from people. So I was home alone, and I was on my mom's time and my brother's time because he had his license at the time. So I was on their time. Whenever they were free, I could go places if they wanted to take me. So it was rough. When they would be out at work, I was home. my sister was at school, I was home alone with my dog. Not the one that I have now. We'll get into him later too. But I was home alone with my other dog, Rocky. And all I did was sleep. I slept. I didn't talk to anybody. I kind of just like, I was so upset with the fact that I couldn't go off to school because of money situations that I cut myself off from the world. I didn't talk to my friends that went off to college because I was so upset that I couldn't go. And jealous, really. So I slept. That's all I did. I wake up, I brush my teeth, do what I had to do, go back to sleep. It got so bad that even my brother was worried. And I remember one day him coming in my room and just being like, "Are you okay? You haven't been out of your room all day. Are you okay?" I'm like, "I'm fine." So a couple of weeks after I graduated passed by, and we got my dog. I went and adopted my dog from a dog shelter. His name is Charlie, my first child. And I think he's a big thing that kicked me out of my depression, because I no longer was taking care of just me. I was taking care of him too, because he was a puppy at the time. He couldn't hold his pee the way that he can now because he had such a small bladder. He had to be potty trained. He needed to eat every night. So I had to like force myself to get out of bed and to take him out to use the bathroom, to feed him. And then I started forcing myself to go on walks with him throughout the neighborhood, because I was like, it's not fair that he was brought into this situation, so now he has to be stuck in the house. No sunlight, no exercise. So I started forcing myself to do that. Kind of kicked me out of my depression a little bit, just because I was seeing the sunlight and I was actually getting out and going places and seeing people. But what really kind of kicked me out of my depression was I got a job that I very much dearly love, and that in the field that I want to kind of work in. It's with kids. Don't know exactly what I want to do yet, but I know it wants to be with kids. So I started working at a summer camp, and that really like helped uplift my spirits. I was surrounded by people and kids every day doing something that I loved, and I really didn't have time to sleep in anymore, and I was forced to get up and go places. And I was surrounded by a friend, Wesley, shout out to him. I was surrounded by him every day because I had to go to his house in order to go to work, because he had to drive me. And then his girlfriend Sienna worked in the department that I worked in, so I had someone to eat lunch with every day and to actually talk to. So that helped a lot. And then after camp ended, because it's only about a 6-week program, I got a job in the same building at a school, a preschool that I currently work at now. One of the biggest blessings of my life. I mean, I was 18 when I started. What 18-year-old can say that they work at a preschool as an assistant teacher? So that really helped kick me out the funk, because I was doing something that I loved every day, and I'm still doing something that I love every day, being surrounded by so many people, and I've made so many great relationships just from working here and at the camp. So after I thought things were getting better, I started going downhill again, because my anxiety kicked in 10 times. What happened now? Still don't know exactly what caused it. Pretty sure it was a family member, just because I noticed that whenever I would get around that family member, I start fidgeting. And this was like a sign of my anxiety kicking in. So when my anxiety first started getting really bad, I noticed it because I was doing this a lot. Like it was taking over my body. Whenever I would talk to people, it was this. Whenever I just got nervous, it was this. And like I said, it took over me. Part of my job is to talk to people. Talk to parents about how their kids' day went. Talk to kids. Talk to co-workers and my bosses. I went to the doctors for it. Now, one of the things that I always told myself is that if I ever run across problems like these, I do not want to take medicine for it, because I felt like medicine is just something that you depend on. And then, medicine is something that you depend on, and once you take it away, nothing's changed. You're still the same. So I was like, I never want to be on medicine for any of my problems. Well, that changed because I could no longer stand this anymore. And I could no longer stand not being able to talk. I could no longer stand not being able to be in a big crowd without my eyes getting big and having a full-blown anxiety attack. So I went to the doctors and he prescribed me some medicine for it. He told me 2 things. He told me that I need to go see a therapist, and then he told me that I can do everything in the physical. I can take medicine, I can go see a therapist, but nothing is going to change if I don't work on the spiritual. Reading my Bible, going to church, praying. And that was something I needed to hear, because that was something that I was not doing anymore. I wasn't going to church because the church that I had grew up in shut down. I wasn't reading my Bible because I read my Bible every day at the school that I went to because it was a private Christian school. I graduated, so I wasn't doing that. I wasn't praying like I should be. So when he told me that, I was just like, you're right. By the way, my doctor, I've had him since I was a baby, so he knows us, he knows our personal life. I don't think he would force that down anybody if, he didn't know if they believed in him or not. But he knew that, we went to church, we believed in him, so that's why he said that to me. So that kicked in, it made sense. But then he prescribed me medicine to help calm myself down, which I needed. The big reason that I hadn't tried for my license is because my anxiety was so bad that on the road it was even worse. Like, I was always like, oh my God, what if somebody crashes into me, or I crash into somebody, or what if this happens, or what if that happens? And my anxiety would kick in and I couldn't do it. I would get overwhelmed. I would start crying. So once I started taking that medicine, it helped so much that I was able to actually go out and get my license confidently. And I already had a car at the time. I had bought it when I started working at the summer camp from a friend that I worked with. So everything was set in stone. I was driving. I was feeling good. I was taking this medicine. But then I realized that I don't want to wake up every day to take a pill. I don't want to rely on medicine for my day to go good. So I started going to church. I found this really amazing church, HC3, that I started going to. And I don't know, it was a crazy experience. Like, my first time there, I was like, I fell out on the floor. But then he did this deliverance service a few weeks, maybe a month after me being there. It was like that service was for me. And as he was talking about it, I cried throughout his entire preaching. And then he did an altar call, and I went up there. And I don't know how long I spent on that floor just crying. But I can tell you, is when I got home that night, I had the best sleep of my life. It was amazing. And from then and on, I just kept forgetting to take my medicine. Like, I would wake up in the morning. Usually I would wake up in the morning, pop it right in my mouth, eat a banana, go to work. It was like, it was in my routine. After this service, I just kept forgetting to take it. I would be at work and I would be like, oh, I forgot to take my medicine. So I would take it then. And then I remember a whole day went by and I forgot to take it. And I was like, I'm fine. 2 days went by. I forgot to take it. I was fine. 3 days went by. And I realized, oh my God, like, I haven't been taking my anxiety medicine. So I started taking it again. Because of the fear that if I didn't take it, my anxiety was going to creep back in. But then, I don't know, something just told me, stop. You don't need to take it. Just stop taking it for a week and see how you do. So that's what I did. I stopped taking it. I had an amazing week. no anxiety attacks. The things that made me so nervous and gave me like, the things that made me so nervous and what made me like tense up and fidget wasn't making me tense and fidget anymore. I could drive without getting anxious. I could be around that family member and not start fidgeting. And I was like, okay, maybe I don't need this medicine. So I stopped taking it completely. And I've been good since. I've been able to sleep, although I could work on my sleeping schedule. So that service just in itself really helped me. Now, I'm not saying that my anxiety and my depression are completely gone. There's still things that I struggle with day to day. But I'm learning to overcome it instead of letting it overcome me. Okay, camera died, but we're back. I kind of want to get to the point where I discipline myself to not go towards those things, but instead to go to the Bible and to learn my understanding and my knowledge from there. But yeah, I'm so happy right now. I was a little down yesterday, which is probably a good reason I filmed the video today, because I was a little down, and then after the Bible study, I was down practically this whole week, and then after the Bible study, I don't know, something just like kicked in because I got confirmation on things that I was feeling, and I feel a lot better. I'm happy. One thing that I didn't talk about is therapy. My doctor did tell me that I needed therapy, and I went one time and ended up not going back because I just didn't like it. I don't enjoy talking about my feelings. I've gotten better at it now. I have someone at the school that I work at that I consider a mentor that I talk to and I come to whenever I'm having a problem. But before, I did not like talking about my problems, my issues. I didn't like putting it out on the table. It just made me feel awkward. And going to therapy, she just, you know, they sit there and they write stuff down and they look at you and then they ask like a simple question like, so how are you feeling today? And you mumble on. I don't know how therapy necessarily works, but for that first session, that's how that worked, and I didn't enjoy it. Made me feel weird and awkward. Didn't go back, even though I was, you know, told that I should give it another shot. I did, but I don't want anyone to look at this and think that therapy doesn't work, because for some people it does work. For some people it helps so much. It's just different strokes for different folks. For me, it made me feel a little awkward and weird, but going to church and praying and stuff and getting back into the Word of God is what helped me to overcome my anxiety and my depression. So I'm not like dissing therapy as a whole. If therapy works for you, if you've never tried therapy but you want to get into it, go for it, because it might work for you. I know a few people who go to therapy for certain things and it helps a lot for them, but I'm just not that type of person to talk out my problem. But I want to encourage anyone out there who's having problems with any kind of mental disorder to go get help. Whether that's going to church, going to a therapist, getting pills, get some kind of help. Because for me, I bottled things up for so long that I finally exploded, and my depression was bad and my anxiety was super bad, to the point where I thought I was never gonna be this happy person again, because I bottled so much in that one day I was just like, poof, I'm done. And I exploded, and that's what came out of it. So get help. It's important to get help. Never feel like you are alone. You are beautiful or handsome, because men deal with anxiety and depression and mental disorders too. You're beautiful, you're handsome, you're smart, you're worth it. If no one has told you that, you are worth it. You are important, and you mean the world to someone out there, whether you know it or not. Suicide is not an option. Go get help. There are hotlines that you can call. Like I said, Bible, scriptures, church, therapy. Go get help, please. Suicide is not an option. Don't be afraid to reach out to me. My Instagram, I think, and my Snapchat will be in the link below. I think they're in my like bio, whatever that thing is called. But I'll put them in the link below if you ever want to DM me, snap me about, you know, something that you're going through and you need someone to talk to. I'm here. But yeah, I think mental health is something that needs to be talked about more. People need to know that they're not alone. So if you're going through something and you want to leave it down in the comments below, I would very much appreciate that. And someone else who may be going through the same thing that you're going through can read it and can read it and know that they're not alone. Or maybe you're going through something that someone has already experienced and has been brought out of, can read it and leave you a comment too and letting you know how they got through it. But I want this channel to be all about uplifting and love. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. If you want to, I have a children's audiobook out on my YouTube called Natural Beauty. Please check it out. It is about a 5-year-old black girl who has natural curly hair, and she's learning to love it and embrace it, and she learns that through a doll. So it shows that beauty isn't defined by what society thinks is beautiful, and that it's okay to be you and the skin that you're in. So go check that out. Yeah, thank you for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.